I need to know a bit more about the process.
Okay, there are 4 key steps to profiling the supply market. You can carry these out in any order. In fact, you should be researching these areas on an ongoing basis. You need to know your market inside and out. Is the structure local, regional, or global? What is the market capacity and capability relative to your requirements? Will it still exist in years to come? And how competitive is that market?
What are the market trends?
Yes. And what are the supply risks? And what environmental factors or strategic market drivers can affect the way business is conducted?
Right. So in practice, this information is needed by marketing teams and product designers during product development phases.
Exactly. They need to be aware of what is available in the supply market, both in the present as well as in the future, in order to design products that can actually be built. You can't procure the impossible.
So once I understand the overall market, I really need to understand the supply base.
You do. And for this, you need to drill down to the available suppliers. Find out who they are, how they're positioned, and what factors impact supply. If you already work with a supplier in this market, how do they compare? Who are the leading suppliers? Find out why they're in this position. What's the balance of supply versus demand? Can suppliers increase capacity at a short notice? Have you considered original sources of supply? Who are the new entrants? And are there any alternative solutions?
The third step in profiling the supply market is researching cost drivers and trends. In procurement, we need to anticipate and respond to cost fluctuations, determine and monitor cost drivers in the supply chain that impact our requirement. So we need to research and monitor trends in commodity markets, global factors that might influence pricing, supplier expenses, industry cost drivers, and best practice by leading companies in the industry. Always be asking yourself, what are the current trends and how are they evolving? What are the key market cost drivers? How will this affect the cost of my product or service? What environmental trends that may impact cost? For example, economy, exchange rate, legislation, and new technology. So now that I get the supply market, what about supplier preferences?
Good point. Knowing how you are perceived will help you identify opportunities to improve your position. A tool to help you with this is the Customer Positioning Matrix. The first step is to determine how attractive you are as a customer. The second step is to identify the value of your business to suppliers. This combination should give you some indication of where you stand in your supplier's eyes and some indication of steps that you can take to improve or maintain your position. If you're a nuisance account, for example, simply buying more from your supplier is not the answer. You need to make yourself a more attractive customer.
So, how do I even know if I'm attractive?
As the old saying goes, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's not necessarily what you think is attractive, rather it's what your supplier is thinking. You can start by simply and honestly asking, do suppliers answer my requests promptly? And do I get my issues resolved?
The greater the level of attention and the higher the rate of response, the more attractive I am.
Yes. You can also ask for their feedback on you and consider if it makes sense for them to do business with you. Are you a key target for them? Do you get basics done right? Paying on time, consistent approach, and keeping promises? Do you waste their time with unnecessary questions, vast paperwork, and organisational bureaucracy? Do they depend on your account? Does your business help them stay in business or maintain their market position? Do they see an opportunity to grow the size of their business by growing your account or using your connection to win other accounts? What motivates them for doing business with you? This is the most important. Do you recognise and reward your suppliers? Does your brand name offer competitive advantage, market growth, greater reputation, or learning?
I can see how all that would help, but where can I get this information?
Internally and externally.
Right. So internal sources are people like team members, stakeholders or end users, but also people from marketing, sales, finance or IT. Their knowledge and experience of the market, historical trends or previous work could be what you need. It could also lead you to other sources, including external sources, things like searching industry journals, company reports, websites, sources of economic data, commodities and exchange rates. This builds your knowledge and gives you points to discuss, but you also need to expand upon it. So talk to suppliers and peers and attend conferences and forums. I widen my network.
Accurate information is vital when you're negotiating. It gives you the knowledge you need to justify a position. Remember, always check a few different sources to confirm any data and information that you find or are given. Accepting a single source of information may mean that you are left bearing an unnecessary cost or a risk.